There are rivers in Mexico where mothers will not let their children play after dark, not because of the current, not because of the depth, but because of what walks along the banks. If you are near water late at night, a river, a stream, an irrigation ditch, even a flooded street, and you hear a woman crying, calling out for her children, do not answer, do not look, do not go to help, because La Llorona is not looking for comfort. She is looking for replacements. Her story does not begin with horror, it begins with love, or what was called love in a time when power decided who deserved it. The legend of La Llorona rises from the blood-soaked earth of colonial Mexico, a time when worlds collided and cultures were violently reshaped. In the most common version of the tale, there was a woman named Maria. She was beautiful, indigenous, poor, and she caught the eye of a Spanish conquistador, or a wealthy nobleman, or a ranchero with land and status. The details change depending on who tells the story, but the pattern remains the same. A powerful man, an indigenous woman, promises made, promises broken. Maria loved him. She bore his children, usually 2, sometimes 3. She believed in a future where they would be a family, but he had other plans. In some versions, he leaves her for a woman of his own class, a Spanish woman, someone acceptable to his family, someone who could give him legitimate heirs. In others, he simply abandons them. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. Maria was left with children who would never be acknowledged, a love that was never meant to last, and a rage that had nowhere to go but inward. What happened next has been debated for centuries. Some say it was madness, a complete break from reality, brought on by abandonment and social ruin. Others say it was revenge, a calculated act meant to hurt the man who destroyed her life. If she killed his children, he would suffer as she suffered. Still, others suggest it was a twisted form of mercy, that she believed her children would be better off dead than living as outcasts in a colonial society that would never accept them. Whatever drove her, the act was the same. She took her children to the river, and she drowned them, one by one, holding them under the water, listening to their cries fade. When it was done, when the water was still and her children were gone, the horror of what she had done crashed over her. She screamed, she wailed, she searched the riverbanks calling their names, as if she could undo what had been done, and then she walked into the water herself. Some versions say she drowned, others say she hanged herself. A few claim she simply died of grief.
But death was not the end. It was the beginning, because when Maria arrived at the gates of heaven, she was turned away. "Where are your children?" she was asked. "I don't know," she wailed. "I don't know where they are." And so she was cursed to wander the earth for eternity, searching, weeping, calling out for the children she murdered. "Ay, mis hijos, oh my children," her cry echoes through the night. Near water, always near water, because that is where she lost them. And that is where she believes she might find them again. La Llorona appears dressed in white, a flowing gown, sometimes a veil, sometimes soaking wet, water dripping from her hair and clothes. Her face is hidden, or skeletal, or beautiful from a distance until you see the empty sockets where her eyes should be. She wanders riverbanks, lake shores, canals. She appears at crossroads, in empty streets, after rain, anywhere water has touched, and she is always crying, always searching, always calling. But here is what makes La Llorona truly terrifying. She does not just search. She takes children who wander too close to rivers at night, children who disobey their parents, children who are alone. She mistakes them for her own, or she knows they are not hers and takes them anyway. Some say she drowns them in the same river where she killed her children. Others say she simply steals them away and they are never seen again. In some versions, she carries a knife. She slits their throats before drowning them. A mercy, perhaps, or an echo of an older, more violent telling. The story varies by region, by country, by the person telling it, but certain elements remain. A woman in white, water, dead children, eternal mourning, and danger for anyone who hears her cry. What separates La Llorona from other ghost stories is what she represents.
She is not just folklore. She is cultural memory. Her story is rooted in the violence of colonization, the destruction of indigenous families, the exploitation of indigenous women, the children born into a system that would never accept them. She embodies the pain of mothers who lost children to disease, violence, and forced separation during the colonial period. She represents the impossible choices women faced and still face when systems of power strip away their agency and humanity. Her story has been told for over 400 years. It predates many of the ghost stories we know today. It has outlasted empires. It has crossed borders and oceans. Mexican families tell it. Central American families tell it. South American families tell it. And now, wherever the diaspora has spread, in the United States, in Europe, in urban centers and rural towns, La Llorona goes too, because she is portable. She exists wherever there is water and grief. In modern times, La Llorona has evolved. She appears in films like The Curse of La Llorona, 2019, which brought her to mainstream horror audiences, like La Llorona, 2019, a Guatemalan film that reimagined her as a symbol of justice for genocide victims. She appears in literature, in art, in corridos, and songs. Chicano and Latino filmmakers use her to explore identity, generational trauma, the lasting wounds of colonialism. She has become a symbol of resistance, a figure who refuses to be silenced, who will not let her pain be forgotten. In some communities, she is a warning to children. Behave, stay close, don't wander at night. In others, she is a reminder to mothers. You are not alone in your pain. Your suffering is seen. She is both monster and victim, villain and martyr. She is what happens when love is weaponized, when motherhood is destroyed, when grief has nowhere to go. There are people who claim to have seen her, always at night, always near water, always weeping. A figure in white moving along the riverbank. A sound like crying carried on the wind. A presence that makes the air feel cold and wrong. Some say if you hear her crying from far away, you are safe. But if her cries sound close, if you can make out the words, you are already in danger. Others say the reverse. That distant crying means she is near. That close crying means she is far. The rules change. The warnings shift. But the fear remains constant. Do not approach. Do not follow. Do not try to help. Because La Llorona does not want your comfort. She wants what she lost. And if you have the misfortune of resembling those children, in age, in appearance, in the simple fact of your existence, she may decide you will do. Parents still tell this story to keep children safe, to keep them away from rivers at night, to teach them to listen when they are warned. But the story does something else too. It carries forward the memory of violence, of women who had no choices, of children who paid for their parents' sins. It refuses to let the past be buried. La Llorona will not rest. She will not be quiet. She will not stop searching. Because some traumas are so profound, so complete that they echo forever. They become legends. They become warnings. They become the stories we tell in the dark. And they remind us that grief is real. That loss is powerful. That some crimes, even against the dead, can never truly be forgiven. So, if you are walking at night, near a river or a stream, and you hear a woman crying, keep walking. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your children close. Because La Llorona is still out there, still weeping, still searching, still taking. And her hunger for what she lost will never be satisfied.
Thanks for staying with us as we have gone beyond the streetlight. Next time you venture out into the darkness, be wary of what might be waiting for you. Until then, sleep with the lights on. Scared of taking that unnecessary shortcut alone? Tell your friends to follow and hit subscribe for more.